Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. And I had some audio technical difficulties in the recording in the last episode, so I basically have to completely scrap the episode because there's literally no audio throughout the entire thing, which is really freaking annoying. But anyways, I will basically show you guys what you would have saw in last episode. So I will probably maybe put up some clips from the last episode over top while I'm talking, but we had a very, very good draft. We drafted a ton of low leads, which I'll show you guys in a bit. I'll also show you guys basically our contract situation right now, who's in the free agency portion as well, the trading block. Basically do what I normally would have done, but obviously we won't be able to show you the draft in real time, and that's what sucks, because I'd say it was maybe one of my best drafts I ever had. So let's go head on over to the contract situation, and I will show you guys the players that we just recently drafted. If we go here to the low league guys, let me actually sort by low leads and stuff like that. We drafted this Cutler guy. He is a grinder, so he's definitely a little bit more of a project guy. He was supposed to go in the 7th round, but we took him. We also took Hang, who's a low lead project kind of guy, 58 at 18. So a couple guys that might take a little bit of time, which is okay. We also did draft this defenseman. He's an offensive defenseman, so I'm excited to see if he ends up panning out. So there's 3 low leads alone. And then also, we drafted a couple other low leads that are very, very solid if I sort by overall rating here. We did draft, if I go to, I guess, main roster for the time being. Is he in? Yes. We drafted this Walter guy. So the Esteban Walter guy I was looking at near the end of last episode. Phenomenal pick, 78 overall at 18 with crazy good shooting. So he is going to be playing probably in the AHL this first season, and then he should be NHL bound easily next season, replacing somebody on that third line. Like, he could definitely be the replacement for Enroth, because Enroth is going into the last year of his contract. And then we also drafted one more low elite, if I could find him. He actually might be in the unsigned area. No, we actually signed him, that's right. Hard to remember with this situation. I hate that I lost all the audio from that episode, but 65 overall low elite. He was our 2nd round selection, and he's a playmaker, so maybe he'll be a good 3rd line guy to replace Eberle. So imagine him on a line with that shooter we just showed you guys. So very excited for the future of this team with some of those low elites. And then some of the other picks were kind of mid, so they weren't really the best in the world, but we did get some more like top 6 defenseman prospects and whatnot. So starting to build up a good prospect pool again in case we have any guys that end up leaving the team eventually. So there is that. Also, at the moment, we do have a couple RFAs going into the next episode because Lannon is an RFA. He's going to be really cheap to bring back. But Stanley King was being a bit of a douche. I was trying to offer him a 2-year contract like Saturn Otaku was mentioning in the comment in the last episode. And he just kept rejecting. Even up to $10 million he was rejecting. So I decided just to qualify him. And he'll probably get a 1-year deal out of arbitration just because of that. And obviously I was hoping to get him for 2 years, but I'll take 1 year for now, and then maybe we could just give him another 1-year deal, and then he could be on his way out because we do have Bergfist in the system. And there is a chance that Bergfist will be our backup this season instead of Grant. Grant will probably play in the AHL alongside Biggs, and that way we have a veteran guy and a younger guy in the AHL. So a little bit of interesting stuff with that. Also, I don't know if you can notice, but we technically lost Christian Cairo to free agency for now. I did try and offer him a 1-year contract. He was also rejecting, saying he didn't really want to play with the team. So unfortunately, he will be headed to the free agent market, but we could still sign him up, but there's a chance he might sign with a different team. The other team that's interested in him right now is the Detroit Red Wings, so we'll see if we end up offering him a contract or not, because I don't know if we really need to. Because if we go to in the system, we have like Baldwin and Goddard who could end up being NHL defenders. So I think at the moment, if we do not bring back Cairo, we could always go for a another depth defenseman instead, free agency wise. Instead, so I think our defensive core would still be good without Cairo, but obviously we'd be losing a little bit of offense from the back end because obviously Vandermeer's that kind of guy too. But we wouldn't have Cairo as that secondary scoring defender because I don't think Vernarski and Louis Vara could really do that, but you never know. So basically there's that. And in our forward stuff, we don't probably need any forwards in free agency, maybe a depth forward if we really want to. But you can see like our top line, our top players right now, Misa, Groshek, Irving, Jaquizi, Bickle, Wilson. That's probably going to be our top 6 again next season, and it is a phenomenal top 6. Our third line is going to be looking really good next season as well. Eberle, Enroth, and Goldman. That's a very good third line. And like I said, with Enroth being a pending UFA, he could get replaced by that other low lead probably in 2 seasons, I guess. And our fourth line would be like Matsumoto, Alexiev, and probably Akeem Hansen will get into the NHL just because he didn't grow at all in the AHL. And yeah, I think our forward group would be really good. We'd probably use Cam and Rafalski as depth options considering they're both pretty old at this point. So Walter would be back in the AHL, and I think we would have enough NHL players unless we want better depth forwards instead of Cam and Rafalski, but don't think that's really that mandatory. So our team is going to look pretty damn good on paper going into next season, and yeah, very excited to see what ends up happening. So there is that. Let's take a look at the available free agents. Not that it matters too much because there's not really anything that I would bring in other than bringing back Kyrou probably or a depth defenseman, but do want to show you guys what's available. Really mad that I lost the audio in last episode because it was, like I said, it was a really good episode too, and unfortunately I guess my OBS just didn't detect my mic and I didn't realize, and I didn't end up recording any audio whatsoever, but I did record videos, so there was at least some clips of that type of stuff like drafting and all that. But yeah, it really sucks that we lost all of that, but at least we'll make up for it with this like little kind of recap in a sense. It is what it is. At least it wasn't like losing audio from like a Stanley Cup Finals win or something like that, because that would have been worse. But yeah, we don't really need goalies, I don't think, because I think Bergquist should be a 79 or so by next season to be our backup. So I don't think we need another goalie, but I'll still scroll through every position. And like I said, with defenseman Christian Kyrou, we could bring him back if we want more offense from our back end, or we could just decide to say, hey, it's time to let you go, and we could try and find ourselves just a depth defenseman to fill that void, because I think Louis Vara, Vernarski are both listed as top fours anyways, so it is okay if they play in the top four, but obviously there'll be a little bit of lack of offense probably from the back end compared to prior years, which might make our team a little bit worse in a sense. But there is not really that great of depth defenders. Like, they're all listed as like 77, so that's where I'm thinking that Goddard could be in the NHL. Baldwin could be maybe a depth defenseman potentially too, just based on the fact he's already 23. But there is some depth defenders, but most of them are pretty low overall wise. So there is all that. And then yeah, forward wise, I don't think we really need anything, because like I said, I don't think we need to replace our depth forwards like Cam and Rafalski, but we could if we really want to, because there is guys like Kabanov, who's kind of intriguing as a 25-year-old. Can play both right and left wing, has good defensive awareness as well, so he might be an awesome option to help us out with like defensive play if we want to use him as a depth forward. Not really a lot on the left wing side of things, to be honest. The left wing side is pretty bare in free agency, so yeah, I honestly don't think we're going to need to sign much. Maybe just one depth defender or Christian Kyrou. That's basically our dilemma going into next episode. And when I was looking at the trading block, there's not really anything I would trade for, I don't think. So we probably won't make any trades unless there's something you guys see when we go through it right now. So let's go through that. And I think that will be almost it for this episode at that point. Which is weird, because you guys are going to be confused on why there's like a short-ass episode compared to the rest of the series, but it's mainly because of the fact that I just completely forgot the audio. Or I forgot to have my mic get registered into OBS or something like that. It's kind of annoying. At least I noticed it now before I started recording more videos, because there's a chance I was going to record more after this of my Halifax series before that wraps up. And imagine if the final episode had no audio. I would be kind of pissed off about that. But you can see there's some good players on the block. Like, Buffalo's trying to blow things up a little bit after they lost to us in the Cup Finals. There's also guys like Parks, who's kind of intriguing, but I don't really know if we need him. Sepulvalov, Blomqvist, Hemming. Bowen Byram's kind of nice, but obviously we don't really need defenders. Like, there's just too many good players that we don't really need, because our roster's already pretty much as good as it's ever been. With that third line growing, and overall it's definitely giving our team really good depth. And I don't really think there's anything that we could use. Like Byfield, obviously we don't need. Kaliev, we don't need. Dvorsky, like, we have a lot of these guys already, type of guys on our team. Really, Greg, even like our center depth is pretty strong, winger depth. And it's kind of funny because a lot of former players are on the block though, like Kyle Connor in his last year of his NHL career, potentially Rasmus Kupari. But unfortunately, I don't think any of those guys are worth bringing back because we don't need them. The one guy that's kind of intriguing to me is this Tarky guy. If we wanted to bring in a top 6 defenseman because we don't think Goddard's going to be ready, he might be okay as a top 6 defenseman. Taro Tarky, not Timo. but he was drafted by the Preds playing with Philadelphia. He might be okay as a rental type deal, but he doesn't need to be brought in because we have already some guys that might take that spot, because I think Goddard could jump up to a 79 easily for next season because he is a 77 minimum lead at 22, so you would think he would get some growth before the start of next season. And then there's like Kirby Dach, JJ Peterka, Logan Stankoven's on the block, and it's kind of funny. He has dropped off considerably since he played with us. He has definitely not been playing as good as he was in his prime with us with the 106 points. Since then, Washington has made the playoffs one time, and he has been getting worse each year. And also his contract is drastically high because he's almost making $13 million for the next 5 seasons. So that's pretty crazy. And that's basically that. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. I know it's a little bit of a weird short episode, but it's because I lost the audio from last episode. So hopefully this makes up for it. It's going to be an interesting season next year, I think, to see if this team could go for a 3rd straight Stanley Cup or a 4th Cup in the last 6 seasons, or maybe even just another President's Trophy to boot, because we've been drafting well, we've been winning cups, we've been winning President's Trophies. This has been a very successful series up to this point. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.